Welcome everybody. Um, Today I thought we would cover the first Wilds Unknown deck that I've been experimenting with and having a lot of fun with, and it actually does really well. So first of all, I don't think it's going to win set champs, but I think it's gonna be. Well, it's fun for me to play, so I'm hoping that it'll be fun for you guys. So the card that I thought was the most underrated, well, I just thought Gargoyles in general weren't getting played. And they were like the coolest creatures. So I'm like, well, I spent ages trying to figure out how to make it work. And what I really liked was this card here. When you play this character, if you have two or more Gargoyle characters in your discard, you get 2 lore. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome indeed. So I thought, well, there's something here because I used to play goats, and they had like everyone knew what a goat does, but essentially it's kind of the faster goat effect, conditional one having gargoyles in your discard, and I guess my original thoughts around it was, well, your creatures are gonna die eventually, and you've got enough gargoyles, and you've essentially got something that gets 2 lore on entry, and on a body that has 2 lore. So I thought that's pretty cool. So what else goes with that? With this sort of gargoyle enter 2 lore theme. Well, in the purple and steel, we've got the giant cobras. So everyone knows what the giant cobra does, but essentially you can discard a gargoyle and load up this bad boy. So that's on theme. And then the only new card in this gargoyle deck is Dash Par, because what does it do? You can get 2 lore straight away. So yeah, it kind of like it's using 12 cards to get 2 lore instantly, and the rest of it's just gargoyles. So yeah, that's kind of the premise of the deck, is pretty much just getting 2 lore with these cards as a finisher, and just banning gargoyle for the rest of it. So let's run you through the list in a more comprehensive way and see if you like it. So on the 1-drops, we have Diablo. I just think it's awesome. It's closest into a gargoyle as well. It's got wings, even though it's not a gargoyle. It's kind of, it fits the theme of it. But the effect of it's actually pretty good, because you do run out of cards when you're discarding a whole bunch of stuff. So you just need to really get to your 6-drop gargoyles, and having that extra card to find that extra bit of ink actually helps you get there more often than enough. So yes, this is a must. Cool. And then the other alternative 1-drop that I've decided to use was Mulan. Main reason is because you can draw and discard unfavorable hands. Yeah, we're only running 12 uninkables, but essentially we're just trying to load up our gargoyles in our discard pile, and a lot of the 4-drops we're using at the moment are uninkable as well. So sometimes it can clutter you up a little bit. So this can help declutter and find inkable cards, because you do want to just keep inking. So I'm enjoying that card, and as the alternate 1-drop. And then as the alternate 1-drop, we of course have the Christopher Robin. Yeah, huge card. I didn't actually think it was that good until I started versing it, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good card. Because we're doing like a finisher deck at the end game there, where everything's kind of trying to get 2 lore. It just makes sense that you have something that can get 2 lore quick. So you can play this on turn 1, or you can play it on turn 2. Yeah, you generally do really well if you're going second and you've got 2 of these in your hand. So I just have, and it's inkable, so it works. It works really well as a 2 slot in this deck, and essentially a 1.5 slot. The other 2 slot that I'm using is Hudson. First of all, it's a gargoyle, and it's a pretty big body, 2/4. It does pretty good there. It does have the Stone by Day ability, but all good. Main thing is that you can discard your gargoyle, so you can make sure on turn 5 that you're getting that you're getting 5, so the 2 lore when you play your uninkable 5-drop there. And there's also a gargoyle, and it's just cool. Let's go into the next 3-drop. We'll go into... We'll stick with the gargoyles first here. Obviously, Lexington was absolutely huge during set 10. I still think it's a good card now. And it's really, it speaks for itself. It can handle evasive and a big body for 3. So, yeah, and it's a gargoyle. So, yeah, no doubt that that's in. So, also the reason why we've picked steel is really because the weakness of gargoyles is the Stone by Day ability. So, having this one here means that the angel means that you can essentially lose the Stone by Day, lose like the biggest weakness of the deck. And you also get to give all your earlier drops here a +2 challenger and 2 resistant to the start of your next turn. So you can make things live and just clear things out without your opponent really enjoying the fact that you're playing that as a 3-drop, because you can keep your Christopher Robins alive, you can boost your Hudsons up, you can even get Diablo to do a little clear. It's a great card. It's a very, very good card. So that pretty much rounds up the first 5 cards that I've taken 4 of, and then after that we go into the Giant Cobras, which really fit into the theme of getting 2 lore. So the start of the game really is really just, we're looking for the Christopher Robins on turn 1 if we're going second. Otherwise, we're just playing straight up that and just playing that as a 2-drop. Still good as a 2-drop because it's a quest for 2. The rest of the stuff is kind of just trying to control the board until you get to the two questing with 2 lore cards. So this would be the first 2 lore card on the 3-drop there. Yeah, and so you can obviously discard a Hudson or any kind of anything really that you don't need to. But you also have the option not to, obviously. Discard if you don't want to. So, but Giant Cobra is just a really cool card. And the other 3-drops is the strength. To me, sometimes I'm even finding that I'm just playing like a couple of like on turn 3 I'm just playing it straight up because it's just something annoying like Willow out, and I just want to play it straight away rather than do the efficiency play of going 3 and then doing it. So I'm just finding it really, really good. Everyone knows that's an amazing card, and that definitely lives in this deck for that reason, because we are trying to be competitive as well as Gargoyle. And then then we got the Dash Pars, which is sometimes you do actually use it for the rush, but most of the time you just use it for the 2. And so that's my 4-drop slot. And then, but that's more late game. It comes down to the Genie being the best 4-drop in my mind, because it just draws you a card unconditionally, and a bit of evasive can help too. But mainly it's just cool card. So it's in there. And the other 4-drop, which mostly, funnily enough, gets inked or discarded to set up the cold stones, is the Demona. But yeah, amazing card, right? Like if you bring it out and you just need to clear something big, it's got the ability to do it. It's pretty hard to kill, so yeah, it's there to play a bit of ball clear if it needs to. Then hopefully by the turn 5 we're setting up the cold stones, we're getting 2 lore, so hopefully by then we've at least quested once or twice with the Christopher Robin. Maybe we've discarded a Giant Cobra, so we'd probably be at the 10 mark hopefully by the time we play a cold stone, or we'll get there. But anyway, either way, I just thought it'd be cool to make a deck where they had 12 basically cold stone effects or getting 2 lore effects, and essentially this is what the Gargoyles deck does. Then we've got Broadway as our 5-drop, and so really it's a Gargoyle. That's why it's in there. I think it's a good card. There's probably better 5-drops to be honest, but if you're trying to just play a themed deck that's competitive, that is also Gargoyle, then this card completely fits this deck's theme and does actually serve as its role too. It's pretty good. Been enjoying having big bodyguards. Then we get into our late game, and so we've got Goliath. Obviously, incredible card. I'm actually finding I'm running 4 copies of the Goliath and 4 copies of the Demona. And what I'm finding is that I am actually choosing Goliath more often than not over Demona, because I get the instant. I basically get the 2 cards before my opponent does, and it puts them in a bit of a conundrum. So quite often I'll ink that and play this more often than not. But sometimes it does work out that you can get a cheeky 3 card or a 2 card draw from a Demona, so or you need to tap things down, so that also works. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. What are we running here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards, 4 copies of. We're running 12 uninkables in the 4s and the 5 slots, which we can draw and discard if it gets a little bit clunky. So it's fairly consistent there. It's really trying to get to the late game of Goliath and Demona if we really need the cards. And yeah, it's really just trying to emphasize the fact that getting burst to lure potentially 12 times in the deck with alongside big bodies that are Gargoyles is viable. Looking at the stats that I've been running with it, just have a quick look now. Yeah, and on the websites that I've been running them on, I don't really want to speak to what websites they are, but yeah, what do we got here is we've played the deck. Where's the stats on it? Just to give you stats. Not on that website. Okay. Well, that kind of ruins that idea. Well, essentially, my MMR on silver, basically is 1371 on Lorcana. Yeah, so 5 wins to gold. So it does pretty well. The things that it loses to are really the toys decks. It can beat them, but it does struggle the most against the toy decks and the under the sea kind of toy decks as well, which kind of almost made me change to my red to go and red steel this deck, because what I'm finding is that these cards are good, the purple cards are good, but I'm enjoying the steel cards more. So it's kind of like, for me, it's an enjoyment thing as well as a performance thing. But overall, this, you're not going to win a set champ with this, but you're going to have a lot of fun and locals playing it, and maybe you could tweak it to be more more competitive. I just think that that the dash pars are just like a really easy fit into this deck, and and if we're going to analyze a little bit more, like literally we've committed a lot of cards to the Cold Stone to do it. So essentially you could get rid of everything that is Gargoyle and just put that other 2 drop that gets 2 lure instantly and just play like the burn game. So I think probably when it comes to set champs, I might just change this into a burn version, because it's pretty much just going to be this, that, and a couple of 1-drop bounces in there, so I can mess with these, and then take just take the burn stuff, and that could actually probably work better, to be honest. But at the end of the day, this deck is cool, so why wouldn't you? Guess because we've got time, and who cares about pile shuffling on stream, but we could run a few mulligans just to see how I've been running it. And so if you do want to pick up this deck, you kind of know how to, but the deck really plays itself out. Like it is, you are curving, Without a doubt, you're just there to curve like a purple steel deck does. So we'll just give it a quick cheeky pile shuffle. But yeah, let me know if you guys have come up with any other ways of playing Gargoyles semi-competitively. I'll be real keen on checking out those lists, but I think because Gargoyles are going to survive the rotation, I'm hoping that they will add a few more Gargoyles cards to the rotation just for funsies, rather than it just being like a one set print thing and then we're not going to touch it again. Hopefully not. That'll make me really, really sad. But hey, look, that's just the way it happens. Cool, let's get down to the mull. So usually when I practice my mulligans, I like to say that I'm going first, and play out a couple of hands, because essentially it gives you less card choices. So let's just try that for a bit, do a couple of those and see how we go. Got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, this is an easy decision, but essentially it's just a straight, all of them. We're looking for a 1 and a 2 drop. We have quite a few 3 drops, so we don't technically need this, but we definitely need a 1 and a 2 drop more. These are definitely late game cards. So yeah, we can, without any shame, get 7 cards and be happy with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. So that turned out good. And we'll just play it a couple of turns. So what do we got here? Yep, so we're going to be, funnily enough, inking the Demona, because it's just always Goliath in this deck for some reason. Inking that, play a Mulan, draw, and we will discard. Yeah, we're actually gonna discard. Ooh, that's a tough one. We're gonna actually discard Coldstone, funnily enough. And we're gonna draw. Cool. Right, so we definitely have a 2 drop being Christopher Robin. So that's all good. So we definitely want to do that. Potentially we don't have like a 4 drop. So again, I think we're just going to ditch the Demona, chuck out a Christopher Robin, and then hope that we draw something better. We didn't. Right. So I think we will play out. I think we will probably just play a Hut at this point. A Hudson, draw, and then we will discard. We'll discard a Hudson. We don't need another one. Yeah. Cool. And then I would probably ink the Cobra and draw and discard, to be honest. And depending on what the board is like, it's either going to be a Diablo discard. It's more than likely going to be a Diablo discard, to be honest. So that'll go. Sweet. All right. So we are trying to get to 6 ink. It's kind of like where the aim of the game with this deck is. So we actually are going to ink this. Probably just hardcast strength at that point. Yeah, we did run out of cards, but that's okay. We can sacrifice 1 turn and hopefully, or we would just play it and then hope that next turn that we ink. No, so we're not. So we'll probably just play that, get 2. And then that would be an easy draw 2. And then you're kind of at your late gameness here. So you'd probably just keep inking and keep playing. We've got 2 gargoyles set up there, so we can start doing that, ink that. Do the dash par, get another 2. I'll keep on forgetting about the Goliath, but essentially, yeah, so we just basically dump our hand, ink, draw more with the Goliath. I hope that it is, and that's kind of like the aim of the deck, is to really just get to the 6 Goliath, and hopefully that sticks. And obviously just win by law. So, yeah, that's kind of the crux of the game. Obviously, playing it against someone's better than just sort of showing you how to mulligan in at one time. But we'll just do a quick other mulligan. But you can kind of see the reason why I got rid of the Demonas early, because essentially you don't need them. They're just until you need them, right? Like so yeah, there's no shame in that. So we'll do another quick mull. Nice start there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sweet. So it's definitely a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. In my opinion, that's a late game, and that all of that's a late game too. So we're just gonna go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like keeping strengths because there's a lot. There's a lot of like get rid of songy, actiony stuff. I like drawing into it more, and it's really like a turn 4 play anyway. Yeah, so I would always, what I've been finding is that the Mulan is obviously never as good as a Diablo, so that would be my first turn play, and then turn 2 would be probably get rid of a Lexington to play a Hudson, to draw, and then discard. Who do I care? That's I'm not too bothered about that right now. Because yeah, I'm gonna instead ink a Diablo, play a Cobra, get rid of a Lexington. Sweet, and then probably just end up hard casting this, to be honest. This is where it gets tricky, is like, do you just play the 1-drop? Probably not. You probably just ink it, right? Because you're trying to set up for a Demona now. And then you got your Demona. Boom. Depending on where you're at in the game, that's kind of how the mulligan would play out. And then after that, what do we got here? We got a genie to draw. You know, we can double sing if they're still alive. Pop that down. Beautiful. And then we're into our late game Goliaths to draw 2. Beautiful. And now we're into our cold stone phase. So if I can boom. Sorry, excuse my language. Yep. Do that one. Don't need the Goliath because we really want to draw more of our burst. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we draw there. Cool. So then that gives us our turn 5 cold stone play. Assuming one of those other bad boys are dead. And then dash pass. So that's 4 lore at the late game there. And then if Goliath is alive, you're drawing 2, and then you got your other backup 2 lore there. So yeah, it's just kind of really, it's really a Goliath deck at heart. Goliath burst, I guess would be the way to call it. But yeah, this is a deck I've been really enjoying it. Maybe I will take it to a set champ. See if I can get more consistent wins at hobbies with it first. You notice that there isn't the classic Calhoun line on turn 2. The reason being is that I quite like just rocking 12 uninkables, and I've committed to the dash par, the cold stone, and the genie's been the absolute must for me. But yeah, lots of the late game stuff, like the early game, lots of the, yeah, anything after turn 4, all my earlier drops, are mostly 1 questers, but everything else after that, it's just big bodies with 2. And that can be just enough just to sneak you over, to be honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck. Real keen on seeing what gargoyle decks you guys have been having fun with. And you know, I'll share the deck list as well, so you can suggest improvements, whatever. I'd be really keen on seeing that. But let's hopefully start a little chat here on how best to attack gargoyles in this set, because yeah, I think gargoyles should be reigning over everyone. Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys. Good luck with your deck building.